Hello everyone and welcome to a Minecraft guide where I'm going to show you how to build a simple acacia tree such as the one that you can see on the screen right now. So the main tree trunk consists of two parts, the bottom chunky one and then the branches on the top. So you kind of want to figure out the size you are going to go for. Over here we are going to go for 5 blocks on the base and around 5 blocks-ish on the branches. Once you're happy with your size, you're gonna go to the main branch over here and you're gonna start making some custom smaller branches, kind of going off of the main one like this, kind of in a haphazard random style, kind of like so. You're going to want right around at least 4 of these branches. Let's make this one go kind of like this. They can be on the same level, they don't have to be, by the way. But if you're gonna do one like in the middle, like that center in the middle, let's do one right off of here, let's say, kind of like this. This one usually can go 1 block higher and it usually looks pretty good, I find. I do recommend making them go away from the center like this, so whenever you have a ending of the branch like this, you're gonna want to place a block on the furthest point from the center so you kind of get this like outward going motion on those branches, and that's gonna make the whole crown of the tree look way more flat, so it's gonna look more like a acacia tree. Now we're gonna add a few blocks to the base here. And most acacia trees, as I'm going to show you on the screen right now, do have pretty chunky bases near the bottom, so you do want to have a pretty thick tree on that part, and you don't need to have the whole base right below the acacia tree. Many acacia trees actually grow to the side and then they start branching off into the main crowned part, so that's what we're gonna try to resemble with this tree over here as well. So if your tree chunk is somewhat resembling something like this, then you are on a good start. And now we are going to try adding a few branches. You're probably going to want to go around 2 or 3 or even 4 blocks away from the branch, depending on what scale you want with your tree. So you're just going to place spruce fences and in a style like this. Do that of each one of these branches that you built, kind of like so. And you can also mix in gates if you want to use those. They do add a little bit more definition to your branches. You can't use them like this, however, because this happens, so you want to place them as usually the endings or as connecting parts, such as over here. Good thing about gates is that you can place them near fences like this and they don't connect. If you would use normal fences, then this happens. So if you want to have some really close together branches or twigs or whatever like this, then definitely recommending using these gates over here. Okay, those are the very basic branches done, and now what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna look at your tree from the top or from the bottom when you're in survival. It's slightly easier from the top in case you're in creative, and you're gonna want to look into these places and you're gonna try to fill them up with branches as well. Basically what we are doing right now is we are eliminating that space from the crown of the tree, and that's gonna make placing leaves onto the tree way simpler, and it's also gonna give them a little bit more texture, so that's gonna look way better. But if you have something resembling something like this, then you are on the right track. And remember, this doesn't need to look exact, because as you know, it is a organic build, so don't worry too much if it isn't like block for block or anything. But yeah, now we can very simply start placing the leaves. By the way, if you want to do this, then that is completely fine, but you can place some fences like this and that will add a little bit more texture still to the top of the crown of the tree. But yeah, this step is relatively simple. All you gotta do is you gotta go all around all of the branches you have placed so far and just place leaves all around. You don't really want to have any branches showing from the side, I find. I don't think that looks very good, I don't think. But if you have some branches visible from the bottom, that usually isn't too big of an issue, and it actually sometimes looks better if you leave some of those visible. Okay, over here I have done basically nothing other than placing leaves on the sides of the fences here, and it looks like a pretty good base to work with, doesn't it? And from the top, not so much though, so let's get to work here. you're just going to very simply, once again, place leaves on the top parts of the tree. Again, we are building acacia trees, so don't go like 3 blocks above or something. You usually want to be in like a 3 block up to 4 block maybe a margin. Having more verticality than that is gonna make the tree look less flat, and acacia trees usually look pretty flat near the crowns. They have those flat crowns, right? So I do not recommend going for more than 4 blocks with this kind of scale. If you have a bigger tree, then obviously more is possible. Okay, and with the top done, you're gonna do a few more leaves on the bottom here. And now for these branches, especially with these acacia trees, I find that you don't need to cover up all of these twigs. What you probably want to do is you want to do right about 50 or 60% of a cover up on them. That way it's still gonna look flat, but it's also not gonna be super branchy when you are directly underneath your tree. And I especially recommend placing more leaves near the center so you can have more like branches visible near the outskirts. But if you have any branches like that center in the middle here, definitely cover those up. Okay, and I'm flying around my example tree over here, and I'm finding that this looks relatively decent. Maybe another leaf block over here. You kinda need to just fly around your tree or walk around if you're on survival and just look where you are missing a few leaves, where the tree could use a little bit more help, and place some over there. And you know, it's an organic build. You kinda need to sadly figure this out yourself if you're doing your own design, unless you are doing this block for block, in which case I salute you. Anyway, once that is done, you're gonna want to go to the top of your tree, and you're gonna look for a repeating edge block. So for example, we have block here, block here, block here, block here in a perfect diagonal. And usually what you want to do with these types of blocks is you want to break it up. So I'm gonna place a block over here like so, and that makes the build look ever so slightly more organic. For example, a big issue over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and over here we have 2, 2, 1. It's really like non-organic. It's kind of curved in this way, but we want to have it curved in this way. We're artificially gonna place more leaves to imply a little bit more of that curve, and then also add a few more leaves near the top, and that's gonna just tie it all together ever so slightly, and that looks relatively decent. And remember to add a 1 or 2 leaves on the bottom over here as well. And that is the basic tree itself done and dusted right there. There you go, that's your acacia tree. If you want to add a few more details, just a few more things that I recommend, of course coarse dirt, because there is less sunlight going through the leaves, so it makes sense that there would be some coarse dirt and just around of the tree like this. And of course having some grass around the tree usually looks pretty good as well, makes it go into the terrain way more easily, makes it blend in. You can actually use polished basalt, and it's, well, probably not in places like this, and when you have 2 blocks kind of near each other, like so, it doesn't look very good. But if you have 1 block branches like this, you can mix in some polished basalt to add a little bit more definition to your tree. Okay, one last detail tip that I'm gonna give you guys before we wrap this up, but you can place fences like this. If you remember, I showed you the reference pictures that I was working off of, right? You can have more of these branches, because these acacia trees, they do look quite branchy, so having some of these fences and connect up all the way to the crown can look pretty good. If there is a gray fence block sometime added in the future into the game, definitely go for that, but I find that using spruce is basically the next best thing. So I hope you guys like how this tree looks, and I hope you learned something new from this video. And a special thank you to you guys, because I actually got this idea from you, specifically from Block the Pro 9. Thank you so much for the suggestion there. And if by absolute chance you made it to the end of the video and you don't like how this tree looks, I'm gonna link a few more designs in the description that you can go and check out, that I found on the internet, that also inspired this build. And yeah, maybe you will find something you like over there. And that is everything from me. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, Have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.